Former Congressman Ron Paul said that truth is treason and an empire of lies. I opened today's video with that quote because I feel that it is very appropriate for today's topic. Blaze Media investigative journalist Steve Baker was forced to turn himself in yesterday because he has been trying to uncover the truth about what really happened on January 6, 2021 for the past 3 years. The FBI didn't like what he found, and they have targeted him specifically for his findings. He didn't even know the charges that were going to be leveled against him until he showed up in court yesterday. That's a violation of the Sixth Amendment. Why? Because God forbid that Mr. Baker be made aware of the charges leveled against him and he uses First Amendment rights to speak out against it. What were the charges leveled against him? Knowingly entering and remaining in any restricted grounds without lawful authority, disorderly and disruptive conduct in restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, parading and demonstrating in a Capitol building. If you listen to Mr. Baker in one of his last interviews with Stu Burgier right before he was arrested, you will find out that none of this is true. All Baker was trying to do was find out the truth about what really happened. And if they're going to go after Steve Baker for trying to find out what happened, then why not go after the other 60 or some odd journalists? They're specifically targeting Steve Baker because Steve Baker is challenging the accepted narrative that the story given to us by Capitol Police does not add up. They're targeting him because of that. The next hearing is scheduled for March 14th. And I would not be surprised if they don't try to come up with more serious charges against Mr. Baker. You know why? Because he's uncovering the truth. They are trying to make him out to be a traitor because he's poking holes. He's poking the bear. And that's not acceptable to the people in power. True journalism is not acceptable in this country anymore. The Constitution forbids what's happening to Mr. Baker right now. And it should be an outrage to every single American, because if this is allowed to fly, if they harm Mr. Baker or repress Mr. Baker's findings, we do not have a country anymore. This is tearing the Constitution to shreds. They paraded him in front of the entire country in shackles. I will show you footage from Mr. Baker's arrest. He said that people that were up there for felony charges weren't even handcuffed before a judge, but he was. And he had 4 misdemeanors, which he was not even made aware of. This is outrageous. This should not be allowed to stand, and it angers me because I care about the freedom and the foundations of this country. This is an assault on that. From my understanding, and from what I can tell, Steve Baker is a good and honest man who is trying to preserve journalistic integrity. That's the job of any good journalist, to find out the truth. Why are they doing this to Steve? They don't want you to know the truth. Hell, they'll probably suppress this video, people at YouTube. And the algorithm will probably downvote it and try to get it, blocked, or have it buried so way down that nobody finds it, because I'm telling you the truth. This is what happens in communist regimes. The free press must be preserved. Journalistic integrity, which Steve Baker is pursuing. Poking the bear. That's the job of a good journalist. God bless Steve Baker. God preserve him. God protect him. Protect his efforts. We need more men like Steve Baker. You know why they're doing this to him? I'll tell you the truth. It's because they're afraid. They're afraid because he's uncovered that Capitol Police story does not add up. He's questioned whether Capitol Police have lied under oath and committed perjury. And why is that important? Because if they've committed perjury and lied under oath, we have arrested innocent Americans because of false testimony. That is something worth fighting for. I fight for liberty and for justice. I want to see Steve Baker get justice. I want to see the foundations of this republic made strong and preserved. And sunlight is the best disinfectant. I've said this multiple times. And that's what Mr. Baker's doing. He's doing the hard work. He's exposing the rot and the corruption that this current administration will go to try to hide what actually happened on January 6th. If we want justice for Steve Baker, I suggest that the FBI be abolished, because they are targeting men who are trying to do their job. Without a free press, there is no America. It's a foundational right enshrined in our First Amendment. His Sixth Amendment rights, as I said, have been violated because he wasn't even made aware of the charges leveled against him until he showed up in court. They spit on the Constitution. They mock good journalism. This must not be allowed to stand. I hope that my story, what I'm telling you right now, will shed more light on this, because as far as I know, the only people talking about this are my friends at the Blaze, who are associated with Mr. Baker because that's his place of current employment. I hope that between this video and what they're talking about, because they're shedding light on it, they're doing God's work, that people would be able to see that journalism, true journalism, is being threatened here. They're trying to make an example of journalists. They're trying to make him scared. They're trying to make other journalists scared who refuse to be part of the propaganda machine. Please, like this video. Please share it. I want more people to see this. I want more people to be made aware of what's happening to Mr. Baker. A good man who's just trying to question and find out the truth. Truth really is treason in an empire of lies. We're seeing this unfold before our very eyes. I'll keep you updated as I find out more information. His next hearing is set for March 14th, I believe. And I would not be surprised if they don't try to put him in an orange jumpsuit. Watch the footage that I'm going to show you. I'll show you the arrest when they paraded him out in front. And I'll show you a segment of the last interview I believe he did with Stu Burguiere. Please like and share this video. God bless him. Please pray for Steve and pray for what he's trying to do.
For multiple years now, you knew at some point this was coming, kind of, although it didn't seem rational, so you kind of, I'm sure, held out hope. But kind of walk people through the last 3 years as quick as you can, if they haven't, if they don't know the story.
Yeah, the short version of this is that in July of 2021, just 5 or 6 months after the January 6th event, I was contacted by the FBI. We gave them a cooperative interview, which was negotiated between my attorney and the Department of, actually the U.S. Attorney General's office, because of my standing as a member of the press. Mm-hmm. They had to actually get permission. The FBI or no other federal agent can interview a member of the press without express written permission from the United States Attorney General. So it took a few months for that to happen. That eventually took place in October of 21. A month later, in November, we got a notice from the Department of Justice that in fact they were going to charge me with January 6th related crimes. We were able to basically beat that back with a pretty aggressive press offensive at the time, and then they went silent for 20 months. They went from telling me that I was going to be charged within the week to not even hearing from them again for 20 months. And then now you jump to August of 2023, and we got a grand jury subpoena for my videos that I had taken, which was a bit absurd because we had offered that free of, any obligations to them.
You weren't trying to hide them.
2 years before. And so we complied once again, and then they went silent for another 4 months. And then in December, we got a call, and I was actually sitting in Thomas Massey's office, Representative Massey's office. I get a call from my attorney, and he says, okay, well, it's happening. They want you to self-surrender next week. So this would have been the week before Christmas. And then, thank goodness, Blaze Media went into a hardcore offensive yet again. Within 30 hours, they backed off again, and we didn't hear from them for 2 months. And now this week, we're... well, it's D-Day, I guess.
Yeah, this time it's happening. It's happening tomorrow.
It's happening.